My god, what a powerful episode. Did anyone else just get hit, like, right in the gut when they were watching this episode? I didn't know really who to vote for. I mean, I love Shimada. He's been through so much. We've seen so much character development, characterization for him. And then Saku this week, in this episode and last, I'm just like, oh my god. Like, I didn't know who to really side with, but Saku is... I have so much empathy for him as a character that it's unreal right now. In a lot of ways, the way he is as a character, he could easily be an MC of a story. Like, easily, just because of how he is. And that's just scary to think about. And this has just been, like, only 2 episodes really spent focusing on him, giving him development. And just, that's saying something. That just really shows the level of the writing of March Comes In Like a Lion. Just to only have 1 or 2 episodes, and you have a character that's just so developed with depth and all that, and you're like, my god, like, I want more of this character. And I could say the same for many, many other characters, countless other characters that already have been introduced. But to get on topic, though, Saku is the main spotlight of this episode. Shimada is too, but Saku gets majority of the spotlight, and I think it is necessary. We already know how Shimada is as a person. We've seen his struggles, what he's been through, his thought process, and we do get some of his thought process in this episode. But Saku is someone we have seen, but we don't really know a whole lot about him. And we finally get to see what drives him to continue pushing forward. He's over 60 years old, and at that time in your life, it is about around that time to where you should start considering retirement, or just settling down and living off your final years of your life in peace. But Saku, he's scared of that. He doesn't want to go to retirement. He doesn't want to just put it all to an end. And the reason why is because he realizes when he does that, he will lose a big part of himself. But he will realize he's closer to the end of everything. And it just hit me like a truck. I'm like, this series is perfectly representing old age and how old people feel while time passes. Now, I'm not going to say that I truly understand how people in older age feel. I'm just saying I feel like this was a perfect way for younger people to kind of understand how old people may feel in real life. And when Saku starts saying, like, what is he right now? Like, what type of tree is he? And he thinks about Shimada as this, like, tree that's small, very weak, but then grows with thicker layers and is just insanely strong. But he's like, what would I be in comparison? Right now, what am I as a tree? And you just see these dead leaves on the ground and these dead branches, and you're like, he's viewing himself as something old, something feeble, something that doesn't have much longer to live. And I'm like, my god. The way he's viewing himself, he realizes that he is at the end of his life cycle, and when he's holding on to these sashes, like he just doesn't want to let them go, all these represent the hopes and dreams of countless others, hundreds upon hundreds of people that has entrusted him with their own dreams or ideals, and he realizes that if he was to lose and let go of these sashes, that would be gone. He would let everybody down, but not just let everybody down, he would lose a big part of what grounds him in this life, this world. And that would be just a downhill spiral soon as he loses all of those sashes. And that's what caught me by surprise, is when this old man, he realizes, he's very self-aware about everything, but even while he is obviously at the end, he didn't give up. He was a very stubborn individual, and he showed that he truly was a king of his position, and he didn't get there by just sheer coincidence. He got there thanks to skill and just passion. And I feel like that's perfectly represented when he moves up the king on the shogi board. When he moves it up and everybody's just shocked, even Shimada's like, you're too old to be doing this. It's basically saying that Saku, he was acting like a youngster in that moment. He was getting cheeky. He was someone that was acting like a kid again. He was saying, like, I may be old, but I am not gonna go down without a fight. I am a king. And that made me happy to see. And I especially love the metaphors in this episode. Like, the one metaphor that got me was that even a burnt field, something that has been burnt to the ground, and all life is gone, eventually grass will grow again. A new pasture will come about. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that's very true. That is very, very true. I mean, even if a forest burns down, even if it takes many years, eventually something will grow new. Something new will be born from that burnt down field. And that's kind of what Saku is saying. He's like, even though I am old, something new will be born from it. And that was also a metaphor from how, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I felt like that's kind of what that was going with, too. Because, see, when you get up in age, maybe you can't really surprise people anymore, because you've done everything, and many pretty much know how you are. They don't expect you to do something unexpected. And so Saku doing that king move, it's kind of like he was doing something that was completely unexpected, nobody saw coming, and an old dog did learn some new tricks. And that's what I like about that scene. It shows that you should never underestimate someone for their age. Even if they are weak, they're at death's door, or they're about to be done with their career, you should never underestimate someone, because they can have that spark of life, that stubborn spark to where they just do not want to give up at all, and that's what happened. So, just quality writing, all around quality writing for this episode. It truly upsets me that this series is just so underappreciated. Like, it really is. I mean, looking at the reviews and all that, like, I put up on this compared to other videos, this series obviously isn't watched as much by people, and it just saddens me. It really does. And I'm just like, I wish more people cared about March Comes In Like a Lion. It's definitely one of those better shows that's come out in recent years, and just the symbolism, the metaphors, and all of that, it's on a whole new level, especially with this episode alone. But, let's talk about, just the visuals, the imagery of this episode. Studio Shaft, you went all in. Like, you went all in for this episode. Like, Saku's design, with his facial expressions to the smoke coming off of him, they couldn't have done his scenes any better. I don't think they could have. I don't know how the manga looks, but I'm willing to bet you that manga readers that watched this episode probably were just taken aback by how godlike this was. Yes, I'm using that word, godlike. It was a godlike episode. So, I hope this isn't the last we see of Saku. I really hope not, because he's a great character. I want to see more of him. And I do like how this was such a twist of normal events, because usually the younger generation would have won, and the older generation would have made way for the newer generation, but that was not the case. Saku won in the end. He managed to beat Shimada and stay on top, get another title, and stay there, which proves that it wasn't following the standard cliche of the old generation loses to the new generation. And that is something I truly appreciate. Many might not care about that part, many might just, sweep it aside, but that is a scene that stands out to me. Now, besides that, let's also talk about how this episode felt so short. It felt incredibly short to me. When I was sitting down watching, I was like, why does this episode feel like 5 minutes? It really did. I really was quick. Like, I know it was a 20-minute episode, but when I was watching, I was getting so into it because of this matchup. Even if I can't comprehend shogi that well, the match was super intense, and I'm just like, it's already over when the credits started playing. I'm like, come on, now, what more? I love this series. Thankfully, we do know that we're going to be getting these the sisters in the next episode, so that's nice to see, because, I mean, we heard the voice actors, and we got to see them kind of like in the preview, so, yeah, we're going to have more of the sisters, and we've been waiting for them for a very long time, so I'm glad to see them finally back in the story. But I guess I want to end my thoughts here, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this week's episode of March Comes In Like a Lion. How'd you feel about Saku? How'd you feel about Shimada? How do you feel about everything that went down? Be honest in the comments below. And how do you feel about all the symbolism and metaphors that happen? I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.